Good morning, ladies. Happy Thursday. How are we? I hope everyone is doing good. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little tired. I might look done up, but I am feeling exhausted. I'll get some rest at the end of the week. But let's hop on to our morning devotion. We are on week 2, day 4 of Arise, a study of the book of Nehemiah. And today's devotion topic is So They Built the Wall. And scripture to meditate on today is Nehemiah chapter 4, verses 1 through 6. And today's devotion goes like this. Nehemiah organized the people, and they got to work. Though the task seemed near impossible, Nehemiah was the kind of leader that motivated action and encouraged the people to believe that this task could be accomplished with God's help and a lot of hard work. It wasn't long, though, before opposition arrived. We see Sanballet and Tobiah return. In chapter 2, we see their jeering at the plan of Nehemiah, and now we see them mocking the work that is being done. They were spewing insults and accusations against the Jews who are hard at work. Have you ever noticed how much easier it is to talk and complain and accuse others than it is to get in and do the hard work? While the Jews were laboring to finish the task that seemed impossible, their enemies were not working but complaining. We see that there are a lot of people standing against Nehemiah and the people of God. The rebuilding of the wall would, in effect, reinstate God's law, and this would mean freedom to worship the Lord, protection for the weak and vulnerable, and a return to the Lord after a long exile. Excuse me. These men were so opposed to this, not just because they were opposed to Israel as a nation, but because they lived at the expense of others. They were part of enemy nations that took advantage of the poor and vulnerable and exploited those in need. The rebuilding of the wall was a declaration that the city of Jerusalem was the city of God and that he would care for his people. Nehemiah could have gotten angry and decided to stop working and give these men a piece of his mind. But that is not what he does. After looking at Nehemiah's life in the past chapters, we should not be surprised when his first instinct is to go to God in prayer. Nehemiah had built habits of prayer in his life, so when opposition came, he goes straight to the Lord. He is often tempting to take our problems to other people, but the first place that we should run should always be the Lord. Nehemiah comes to the Lord with urgency. He wants the Lord to act on his behalf and on the behalf of the people. Nehemiah prays a bold prayer in these verses. It is the same kind of imprecatory prayer that we often see in Psalms. Our first instinct may to be a little shocked at the words that Nehemiah prayed. Our first instinct may be to be a little shocked at the words that Nehemiah prayed. We may even try to explain it anyway. Is this a prayer for revenge? Is it sinful to pray this kind of prayer today? Nehemiah was not praying for revenge. He was praying for justice. He was not praying to get back at them for what they had done, but for God to be faithful. He was not praying for his own glory, but for the glory of the name in the name of God. Nehemiah knew that by these men deriding God's chosen people, he was insulting the nature and character of God as well. Nehemiah was praying for God to be who he is, holy, just, righteous, and true. Nehemiah placed the situation in God's almighty hands, and then he got back to work. Immediately following the prayer of Nehemiah are the words, "So they built the wall." Nehemiah and the people did not allow the opposition and distraction to keep them from doing what God had called them to do. We have a very real enemy as well. Our enemy is seeking to distract us and to destroy us. He doesn't want us to finish the work that we have been called to do. He wants us to get apathetic and discouraged. He wants us to give up. Living a life of faith is not always easy, and oppositions is sure true. But we have a God who's our refuge, no matter what schemes the enemy employs. When the enemy attacks, we can follow the example of Nehemiah. We can go to God in prayer and keep the works right where God has called us to be. And that's so true. I pray. I'm probably praying all dang day. Even for the random people that are driving by me, like speeding at I-4. I literally, the last 30 days self-going and just trying to reflect and dig deeper, knowing I maybe drive now, even so, 3 miles, maybe tops to the 5 miles over the speed limit. My days of driving 15 and above are so over, because in my 20s, I did so much of that. I'm like a little over halfway to the mark of where you're not allowed to the 12-point maximum, I believe, for the entire lifetime. So I can't afford any more tickets and citations. So I drive speed limit, like I said, between 3 and 5 over. And tell me how. And of course, I'm in the right lane. I'm not going to move, mess with anybody to drive. I'm not that person. But people are flying by me when the speed limit is 60. So if I'm doing 63, 65, which is over the speed limit by the law, you got to be doing 80, bro. And then we wonder why how all these accidents are coming. And I'm talking about swerving. What is going on, guys? Be patient. Can we just wake up a little bit earlier? Just a little bit. So we all get home to our families. I don't think rushing and causing accidents should be the first thing you should be doing in the morning. Just saying. But I pray for them. I pray for those people, because sometimes you don't know what's going on and they may just need prayer. So, and God is faithful. Don't ever seek revenge, honestly. Coming from a nasty divorce, I'm telling you, stick true and to the book. Because at the end, God always prevails. And justice is served. Trust me. If you want to know, send me a message. Like I said, I have more than enough testimonies in life, especially with my divorce, to discuss and just proclaim how great God is. But let's back to this. 3 questions. First one, write down the 5 attacking questions of Sanballet and the accusation of Tobiah. What accusations does the enemy use in your life? Second question, how are you prone to react against opposition? What should be your response? And the third question, our enemy is seeking to distract us and destroy us. How does he seek to do this? How do we stand against him? Read Ephesians chapter 6, verses 10 through 20 for a few ways to stand against our enemy. Take note that we have a God who is our refuge, no matter what schemes the enemies deploy. You ladies have an awesome day. It's nice talking to you. If you'd like to talk about today's devotion, send me a message, especially if you need prayer. You're not alone here, sister. Have a great day.